You are the master of your fate. Let's begin.
Let me ask you something, and I want you to answer it honestly. Have you ever finished your work early, done it better than expected, solved a problem that wasn't even yours to fix, and still felt invisible? You walk through your day giving your best, and yet it's like nobody sees it. Your name isn't mentioned. The credit drifts elsewhere. Someone louder, someone flashier, someone who maybe didn't do the heavy lifting walks off with the recognition. Now you could say the world is unfair, and you wouldn't be wrong, but that won't change it. See, what I want to show you today is this. You're not invisible because you lack value. You're invisible because you haven't yet mastered how value is perceived. And those are two very different games. The modern world is flooded with talent. Everyone's got a degree. Everyone's good. So being good no longer makes you stand out. Being silent about your value doesn't make you humble, it makes you replaceable. If you don't control your own narrative, someone else will write it for you. And here's the uncomfortable truth. The world doesn't reward effort, it rewards visible impact. Let me repeat that. The world doesn't reward effort, it rewards visible impact. Now that's not a reason to stop working hard. In fact, it's the reason to start working smarter. The recognition equation. Let's talk plainly. Every workplace, whether you're on a film set, in a factory, at a nonprofit, or building your own business, runs on perception. People trust what they can see, not just what's true. You might be pulling the whole team forward behind the scenes, but if nobody can trace that progress back to you, it's as if it never happened. Invisible effort doesn't scale. Silent greatness rarely leads the room. So here's the first shift I need you to make. Stop thinking, if I do good work, they'll notice. Start thinking, how can I make my impact unmistakable, even without bragging? This isn't about ego. This is about alignment. When your actual value matches your perceived value, your career transforms. Let's break this down. Why people get overlooked. There are four main reasons high performers get overlooked. 1, they don't articulate their results. They solve problems quietly, thinking the outcome will speak for itself. It won't. Results need context. They need visibility. A solution with no author is an orphan idea. 2, they wait to be asked. If you only contribute when called on, you become passive. Hill would say, initiative is the soul of leadership. You got to show up before the spotlight swings in your direction. 3, they operate in isolation. Working alone might make you feel efficient, but success is a team sport. If people don't experience you, they can't promote you. 4, they believe that recognition is shallow. This is the belief that says, I don't need credit. Fair. But if you're building a career, recognition isn't vanity, it's leverage. The people who get recognized get the resources. The resources get the results. So here's your assignment. Take inventory. Where have you delivered value that nobody knows about? Where have you made progress without planting your flag? Where have you worked with excellence in silence? We need to fix that, not by yelling, not by bragging, but by connecting the dots between what you do and how it helps others. The internal shift. Let me be clear. This isn't about pretending to be someone you're not. This is about becoming fully expressed. Most people don't need to fake confidence. They need to own their impact. And that begins with telling yourself the truth. You are not behind. You are just unseen. And you are unseen not because of what you lack, but because of what you haven't claimed. You have something the world needs. But if you keep hiding in plain sight, someone else is going to fill the position you were born to grow into. Let that sit for a second. You were not meant to be a background character in your own story. And the job you're doing, if it truly matters, deserves to be acknowledged, amplified, and expanded, not ignored. This world moves fast, and if you wait for recognition to come find you, you'll grow resentful long before you grow respected. So here's what I want you to do next. Before this day ends, I want you to write down 3 moments from the past 30 days where you moved the needle. You solved a tricky issue no one else caught. You fixed something quietly that was going off the rails. You made something work more efficiently, more smoothly, or with more care. Then ask this: who benefited from that? Who was impacted? Did they know it was you? If the answer is no, that's your work. Not to gloat, but to own the thread that ties your effort to the outcome. Now let's get into something that no one tells you early in your career. In fact, it's something even experienced professionals struggle to admit. Being excellent and quiet about it is one of the fastest ways to be overlooked. Let me explain. There's a kind of performer I call the quiet achiever. Maybe this sounds like you. You take pride in being low maintenance. You never miss deadlines. You don't cause drama. You fix other people's mistakes without making noise about it, and yet you feel stuck. You're not getting promoted. People don't come to you for advice. Or worse, they forget to include you in conversations where your expertise could actually make the difference. Sound familiar? It's not because you're not good enough. It's because your excellence isn't loud enough to register. Why quiet excellence backfires? Let's look at this practically. In any work environment, corporate, creative, or entrepreneurial, leaders are dealing with noise, problems, complaints, egos, shifting deadlines, inboxes full of chaos. The people who rise are the ones whose value is easiest to identify in the noise. Not necessarily the loudest, but the clearest. Quiet excellence, unless coupled with strategic visibility, creates an illusion of replaceability. In short, people assume, if they were really that important, I'd hear more about them. That's not fair, but that's how human systems work. And that's why Hill often repeated, initiative is the starting point of all achievement. Initiative isn't just about doing more. It's about showing up where people notice when it counts. If your work ethic is on point, but your recognition is low, here's what's happening. You're sending out value, but the signal is too weak to register. Your results are quiet. Your communication is minimal. Your wins are private. So people fill in the blanks. And guess what? They usually underestimate. If you want to get noticed, not for ego, but for opportunity, you need to amplify the signal. That means doing three things. 1, narrate your impact. Don't just say what you did, say why it mattered. Example, I reorganized the dashboard so the client could make faster decisions. That's clarity, that's value, that sticks. 2, be present in the room where decisions are made. Don't avoid meetings because they feel political. Be in the room and contribute strategically. One clear insight can shift how people see you. 3, share progress, not perfection. You don't need to wait until the whole project is done to speak up. Share updates, loop people in. When they see the process, they appreciate the outcome more. This isn't self-promotion. It's narrative alignment. You're making it easy for others to connect what you do with how it helps them. Now, if you were sitting in front of Napoleon Hill right now, here's what he might tell you. If no one knows the value you produce, you fail to deliver its full measure. Achievement is not just doing the work. It's owning the space it creates. Hill never meant for success to be noisy, but he did mean for it to be seen. He believed that definiteness of purpose had to be matched by deliberate action, and that includes shaping how your work is perceived. Here's the key. You don't need to change your personality. You need to change your presentation. Being seen isn't about being loud. It's about being clear, consistent, and courageous in letting your work speak through your own voice. Here's something simple you can do this week. Choose one result you created that's gone unnoticed. Write a 2-sentence summary of what you did and why it mattered. Find the right moment to share that insight in a meeting, a Slack message, or a one-on-one. It's not bragging. It's building perceived value, and that's the currency opportunity trades in. You've probably heard it before. Everyone is replaceable. It's said like a warning, a way to keep people humble, quiet, and compliant. But let's be honest, that's not how the real world works. In every company, every team, every creative circle, there's always someone they bend the rules to keep. The person they don't want to lose, the one they ask for when the stakes are high, the one who gets the call, the opportunity, the flexibility others don't. That person, they're not just valuable, they're indispensable. So the question becomes, how does someone become that person? Because it's not about being perfect, it's not about being the smartest, and it's definitely not about being the loudest. It's about how you show up when it matters most. Let's break it down. If you want to stop being invisible and start being essential, these are the traits people around you need to feel, not just hear when they think of your name. 1, reliability in chaos. When things are smooth, everyone looks good. But when deadlines crash, deals wobble, and plans go sideways, who becomes the anchor? Indispensable people absorb pressure and create clarity. You don't need to fix everything, but if people know you stay composed under fire, if your presence makes things better, not louder, you become the first person they want to keep close. 2, clarity in communication. Being good at what you do isn't enough. You must make your thinking easy to follow. Indispensable people don't confuse, over-explain, or talk in circles. They say, here's the issue. Here's what I'm doing. Here's what we need. They make complex problems feel solvable. And in a world drowning in ambiguity, that kind of clarity is power. 3, proactive ownership. This is the real differentiator. Most people do what's assigned. Indispensable people take initiative. They anticipate needs. They improve what's already working. They say, I noticed this was falling through the cracks. I took care of it. That kind of ownership shifts how people think about you. You're no longer a resource. You're a force. Napoleon Hill understood this better than most. In Think and Grow Rich, he told the story of his own role working for Andrew Carnegie. Carnegie didn't choose Hill because he had a degree or a resume full of credentials. He chose Hill because he saw usefulness plus initiative. Hill said, the man who does more than he is paid for will soon be paid for more than he does. But let's take it further. It's not just about doing more. It's about doing what matters most when it counts and being seen doing it. In other words, solve real problems, deliver with consistency, make sure the right people know you're the reason something worked. You don't need to chase praise. You just need to position your impact. And here's a truth Hill implied often. Success doesn't reward the invisible. It rewards the valuable who show up visibly. Modern examples, from unnoticed to indispensable. Case 1, the junior designer who became a creative lead. A junior designer in a fast-paced agency was constantly being overlooked, despite being talented. Instead of waiting for permission, she started adding a bonus slide to each presentation. One insight from customer feedback no one had asked for. It wasn't loud, but it was useful. Within 3 months, clients were specifically asking for her input. In 6 months, she was promoted to lead. Why? She connected her work to outcomes and made sure her value was visible. Case 2, the quiet product manager who saved a launch. He didn't talk much in meetings. People saw him as solid, not standout, until one project started to fall apart. Instead of blaming, he quietly mapped out a recovery plan over the weekend, shared it Monday morning. It worked. The leadership team suddenly realized he wasn't just reliable, he was strategic. That moment changed everything. He became a voice in high-level planning, a go-to. The signal check. Ask yourself, am I solving real problems or just completing tasks? Do decision makers know how I contribute, or am I assuming they see it? Have I built a track record of showing up in moments of pressure, or just consistency in comfort? If the answers aren't strong, you don't need to overhaul who you are. You just need to make your impact visible, strategic, and aligned with what matters to others. That's how you move from replaceable to irreplaceable. There comes a point where the hustle isn't enough. You're doing the work. You're delivering on time. You're even helping others succeed. But you're still not getting noticed. Still not getting the recognition. Why? Because in the modern world, perception is a second job. Your value isn't just in what you do. It's in what people remember. And people only remember what's repeated, clear, and emotionally sticky. That's why the next step isn't just to do more. It's to make your work speak, even when you're not around to explain it. Let me show you how. Reputation over resume. Napoleon Hill understood that true power isn't just in ability, it's in reputation. He wrote, your reputation is what people say about you when you're not in the room, and that reputation is either working for you or against you. So here's the truth. If you want to rise, your work has to echo. Not once, not loudly, but consistently. Let's walk through the how. 3 practical strategies to make your work speak for you. 1. Create visible artifacts of value. Don't just finish the task. Create proof of the impact. Did you streamline a process? Build a simple before and after comparison. Did you help a team hit a deadline? Write a short summary showing how your contribution cleared the roadblocks. We're not talking about bragging. We're talking about framing. You're not just doing work. You're telling the story of that work so it can travel without you. You can do this quietly. End-of-week recap emails, internal dashboards or summaries, offering to do post-mortems or debriefs. These become receipts of your value. 2. Get other people to tell your story. You can shout all day and people will ignore it, but if someone else says it, it sticks. This is where strategic relationships matter. When you collaborate, let others shine. Ask for feedback. Be the person who brings clarity. Why? Because people remember how you made their work better. And when they speak on your behalf, your value travels further than your voice ever could. Quiet influence beats loud noise every time. 3. Attach yourself to strategic wins. Every team, every company, every group has critical initiatives. You need to be connected to at least one. This doesn't mean take credit. It means contribute visibly. Even a small, consistent part in a key effort builds recognition. She's the one who always made that rollout easier. He was the one who kept us aligned when everything got messy. These are the phrases that get spoken when rooms get closed and decisions get made. A 22-year-old intern at a tech company was hired for data entry. Nothing fancy, no visibility. But here's what he did. Each week, he summarized the patterns he was seeing in the data, sent a short Slack message to his manager and two others. At first, no reply. By month 2, people started referencing his insights in meetings. By month 4, he was in the meetings. By month 6, he had a full-time offer with a higher title than he applied for. Why? Because he made his work speak, consistently, quietly, and strategically. Bonus tactic, the no-ask update. Here's something you can do monthly, and it's powerful. Send a short update to someone who has influence over your role or visibility. Just a few lines. What you've worked on, a win you helped create, a trend or insight you've noticed. Don't ask for anything. Just show value. Why this works? It creates pattern recognition. People don't promote the best. They promote the person whose name keeps showing up attached to value. Make that person you. Ask yourself, have I made it easy for others to see how I contribute? Does my work create ripples that continue after I've logged off? Is my name attached to progress, clarity, and solutions, even in small ways? If not, you don't need to shout louder. You just need to shape your echo. The art of strategic visibility. Let's be honest. You've done the work. You've stayed late. You've helped others. And still, someone else gets the credit, the opportunity, the mic. It doesn't feel fair, but here's the hard truth. The workplace doesn't reward silent excellence. It rewards visible reliability. Now, this isn't about bragging. It's not about turning yourself into a walking resume. This is about strategic visibility, making sure the right people see the right version of you consistently. Let me show you how. What visibility is not. It's not being loud. It's not interrupting meetings to self-promote. It's not flexing your achievements on LinkedIn every 72 hours. Real visibility is more subtle. It's deliberate placement of your value where it matters most. Hill once said, people are remembered not by what they intended to do, but by what others perceive they've done. So let's get practical. 4 ways to build strategic visibility without selling out. 1. Choose 2 strategic audiences. Not everyone needs to see your brilliance, only the right people. Pick 1 person above you, manager, director, team lead. 1 person beside you, peer, collaborator, influencer. These 2 are your signal amplifiers. Make sure they consistently understand what you're working on, see the outcomes of your effort, connect you to future opportunities. Visibility starts with intelligent proximity. 2. Make meetings work for you quietly. Instead of fighting to speak in every meeting, focus on adding unique clarity. Say one thing that moves the conversation forward, summarizes confusion into simplicity, connects 2 ideas into one clear path. People don't remember noise, they remember clarity. The one who names the problem clearly often owns the solution. 3. Become the go-to for something specific. Want to stand out? Don't try to be everything to everyone. Be unmistakably excellent at one thing. It could be synthesis of complex info, solving people bottlenecks, writing the most helpful documentation, keeping projects on track. Once you're known for something, people start to build rooms with you in mind. You become needed, not just liked. 4. Share wins as lessons. Here's how you talk about your impact without sounding self-centered. When something goes well, don't just say, I did this. Instead say, something I learned in this process that helped us hit the target was. That format does 3 things. Shows contribution, shares insight, builds credibility. That's strategic visibility in action. Not a spotlight, a signal. Angela was a mid-level analyst. Quiet, brilliant, constantly overlooked. She started doing just 2 things. 1, at the end of every project, she'd send a 3-bullet takeaway to her manager with a lesson from what went well. 2, in team meetings, she'd speak up once, always to clarify next steps. In 90 days, her name came up in a senior meeting as someone who makes things easier to move forward. 6 months later, she was promoted, not because she changed her personality, but because she made her value impossible to ignore. Visibility isn't vanity, it's your leverage. Let's rewrite the mindset. Visibility is responsibility. If people don't know your value, they can't leverage it. Visibility is service. When others understand your strength, they trust you more. Visibility is strategy. It places your work where it can create momentum. You're not being selfish. You're being smart. Ask yourself, who are the 2 people who should see my progress this month? Is there one specific skill I can double down on and become known for? Can I find one opportunity to share a win as a lesson this week? You don't need to shout, but you do need to show. Turning visibility into opportunity. You've done the work. You become visible in the right ways. Now comes the question that most people never dare to ask. How do I turn recognition into real opportunity? Visibility alone isn't enough. If you stop at being seen, you'll become everyone's favorite helper, appreciated, applauded, but still on the sidelines. The next step, converting perception into progress. Let's break it down. Step 1, move from contributor to driver. In every organization, there are contributors who help projects succeed, drivers who own success and shape outcomes. If you want reward, title, promotion, independence, influence, you have to move into the driver's seat. How? Take responsibility before it's assigned. Proactively solve recurring problems. Use "I'll take that on" instead of "let me know if you need help." You don't wait for permission to lead. You create value before it's requested. This is the exact mindset shift Hill referred to when he said, "Initiative is the master key that unlocks doors others never dare to knock on." Step 2, propose, don't just perform. People who get promoted aren't just the ones who do great work. They're the ones who pitch new ways to improve outcomes. If you see something broken, inefficient, or outdated, suggest a solution. Even better, make a micro-proposal. Example, I noticed we lose 6-8 hours a week duplicating work between teams A and B. I mocked up a shared system that could cut that in half. Would it make sense to review together next week? Small proposals show leadership, foresight, and initiative. That's not being helpful. That's being indispensable. Step 3, learn the language of decision makers. Executives don't think in tasks. They think in impact. If you want your value recognized, speak in their terms. Time saved, revenue protected, risk reduced, opportunities created. Start translating your work into their language. Instead of saying, I built a new database, say, we reduced reporting time by 60%, which let the sales team respond faster and close 4 more deals this quarter. This shift elevates your brand inside the organization, from doer to strategist. Step 4, be ready with the ask. Here's where most fall short. They wait for someone to offer them an opportunity, but the path to advancement usually starts with one powerful, calm, prepared conversation. You don't demand, you present. Example, over the last 6 months, I've led 3 successful initiatives that streamlined X and improved Y. I'd love to discuss a pathway to a leadership role or a next-level project where I can create even more impact. When you speak this way, you show self-awareness, you show data, you give your manager a chance to become your advocate. People want to support people who are clear, grounded, and credible, but they can't help you if you never make the ask. Final shift. Think like the opportunity already belongs to you. This last step is internal. To move from recognition to reward, you must start carrying yourself as if the opportunity is already yours. Not with arrogance, with calm certainty. Show up 5% more prepared. Speak 10% more clearly. Hold 20% more ownership over outcomes. When others start to feel that person is already operating at the next level, the path clears. Doors open faster for those who have already walked through them. In mindset. In summary, to convert visibility into reward. 1, shift from contributor to driver. 2, make micro-proposals that solve real problems. 3, speak the language of decision makers. 4, present your case with calm preparation. 5, behave like the future version of yourself. Now, this is not manipulation. It's manifestation through action. Let me leave you with this. You were not born to be overlooked. You were designed to stand out by standing up for your own value. The world is watching, but more importantly, you are watching. And every small, clear, courageous step you take tells your future, I am ready.
Remember, your success begins the moment you decide to act.